Today I'm using Saint Caban's painting tape. Start by taping off your board. This can be any design you like, straight, horizontal, diagonal. My trademark is to do a whale's tail. Make sure you press the tape down firmly. Flip it over and with the two ends, fold them under to make tabs. This makes it easier to remove the tape when the resin is drying. To protect the rest of the board, you may want to put down some plastic or some parchment paper. I haven't had a real issue before, so I'm just going to leave it bare. The next step is to elevate your board so that the resin can drip off. I find old cups are perfect for this. For this particular one, I'm using the ocean as my inspiration. I'm using the pigment Alaska by Faux Rizzle, alcohol ink in the colour Ultramarine Blue by Brie Reese, and pigment paste in the colour White Album. I'm now mixing 100 ml of resin. A quick tip when mixing your resin, always scrape the edges and the bottom of the cup. When your resin hasn't been mixed properly, it won't cure. This can result in a tacky finish or resin that never completely hardens. My rule of thumb is to make sure the resin turns from opaque to clear and there's no streaking, as you can see here. I'm now adding several drops of alcohol ink into a cup. The more you add, the deeper the colour. I love adding alcohol ink to resin as it still stays translucent, so in theory you're just tinting the resin. Mix thoroughly to avoid any streaking. Now I'm taking my pigment and adding it to the resin. You don't need to add a huge amount for this. Pour in your resin and mix thoroughly again, making sure you're scraping the edges on the sides and the bottom. And now for the pigment paste. Again, you don't need a lot for this. Once my colours are all mixed thoroughly, I let them sit for a couple of minutes. This allows any bubbles to come to the surface. I'm now freestyle pouring my resin, starting with the alcohol ink, followed by the pigment. I'm now using my Ryobi heat gun to warm the resin. I then turn it up and let the resin spread the surface. White can be really dominating, so add that last and add it sparingly. As you can see, I didn't add much, and once it's been blown with the hot air, it really spreads. And now I'm just freestyle pouring to get the desired look. To avoid heavy starting lines, start pouring the resin before you get to the surface. And now for the edges. I like to use the excess resin and place it back onto the edge. Don't be too concerned about matching the colour, as the resin will still continue to drip, resulting in a seamless finish. Once you've been working with your resin for a little bit, it's quite common for microbubbles to appear. This can be easily fixed with a butane torch. Remember those tabs we made in the beginning? This is when they come in handy. Gently lift the tab, and as you remove the tape, fold it upon itself. I find this catches any little resin drips. I left my resin about 10 minutes before removing the tape. This allows for a definite line, but still keeping an organic edge. Remove any bleeds with 100% isopropyl alcohol. This needs to be done as soon as possible, as this method doesn't work when the resin has dried. And now to attend to the back. There are two ways I recommend removing the drips. One is to sand the back, but this can take time, and I'm not always the most patient person. So my favourite method is to use a scalpel and a heat gun. It's very simple. All you need to do is heat the resin drips, and with a scalpel, cut them off. Okay. So you're not technically cutting them off. You're more shaving them off. Keep your scalpel as parallel to the wood as possible. This avoids the scalper from digging in and taking chunks of your wood out. And there you have it, how to make your very own resin platter tray. If you'd like to see more splashes of colour, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook and TikTok under Julia Dover Art. If you give this a go, I'd love to see it, so use the hashtag Julia Dover Art. Have fun and be kind to yourself.